It's 2:47 local time, the 6th of July 2025. In the dark waters east of Okinawa, the USS Dewey's sonar room goes silent. A low-frequency echo repeats steady, deliberate, not one of theirs. Within seconds, alarms flare. Sailors sprint to battle stations as the destroyer's radar paints faint metallic smudges deep below. Outside, the sea looks calm, but under it something massive glides, too slow for a torpedo, too quiet for a whale. A bearing line hardens. The watch officer whispers, "Trail?" Command confirms, possible SSBN shadowing. On datalink, JS Kaga and the French carrier Charles de Gaulle report the same pulse. Far to the southwest, a satellite hit flags heat signatures near the Luzon Strait. China's Type 925 Chengdao and a Type 54 Amperes frigate Yulin, running dark and close. Strike jets are secured. ASW Hilo spin up. The carrier USS Carl Vinson acknowledges and turns into wind. The first minutes will decide who sees whom and who survives the night. At sunrise, the fog over the East China Sea burns away to reveal a chessboard of power. For weeks, Chinese underwater activity has spiked signals, noise bursts, strange towed objects. Intelligence says Beijing is testing deep-sea networks that can track submarines across continents. To the US Navy, that means one thing. The undersea map is changing. The USS Carl Vinson carrier group patrols east of Taiwan, while France's Charles de Gaulle steams up from the south. Japan's JS Kaga links its sonar grid to them, forming a triangle meant to watch, not fight. Yet below that calm surface, another formation lurks: China's Changdao and Yulin, guarding something unseen. Every move is a message. The US and its allies train to keep the seas open. China moves to show it can close them anytime. Each ping, each shadow could start a war no one planned. The sailors know this, but the ocean doesn't care. It swallows fear and sound alike. By July 7, both sides mirror each other, daring the other to blink first. Sonar trails overlap, tempers rise, and the Luzon Strait becomes the quietest yet most dangerous place on Earth. Merchant ships reroute, insurance rates climb, and one wrong maneuver could change headlines before dawn. Commanders trade comm calls, hold course, keep distance, log everything. ASW helicopters mark a picket line. Fighters wait silent on deck. The goal is simple: keep trade flowing, keep allies steady. Avoid the spark that lights the fuse. If you were here watching one fleet shadow another through miles of dark water, whose side would you trust to stay calm? Type 1 if you believe the US and allies must hold their line. Type 9 if you think China's move is a rightful show of strength. The next contact will decide whether this remains a shadow war or turns into the real thing. The 8th of July 2025, 1:12 local time. Inside the USS Dewey, a faint metallic rhythm cuts through the static, not ocean noise. Not friendly. The sonar operator stiffens, recalibrates, filters, and leans close. The pulse repeats, slow, precise, deliberate. Contact bearing 081, range 20 miles, depth 200, he reports. The ship's lights dim red. Moments later, Japan's JS Kaga confirms a similar trace. France's Charles de Gaulle picks up a matching echo farther south, 2 contacts, moving in sync. Not one submarine, 2. A hunter and something larger, likely the Changdao or an escort under radio silence. Engines to quiet mode. The Dewey's captain orders. The destroyer drifts on momentum. Air crews rush to ready the MH-60R Seahawks, loading sonar buoys. On the USS Carl Vinson's deck, crews move under low light, every gesture measured. The strike group now plays by sonar and silence. At 1:29, an American buoy pings back strong return, northeast vector. The sonar plot sharpens. A Type 93B nuclear sub, and deeper below, a slow-moving mass, possibly the Yulin. The sea becomes a layered maze. Then, from the deep, a single active ping echoes sharp, wide, unmistakable. China just said hello. The Dewey replies with half a ping, the underwater version of eye contact. Neither side fires. Both log the exchange. Suddenly, The Kaga's helo detects turbulence near the Luzon Shelf cavitation trails rising fast. "Possible torpedo launch!" someone yells. For a breathless second, every console freezes. Then, negative ballast venting only. The air loosens, but the tension stays. Surface ships adjust formation, keeping spacing to avoid sonar overlap. The French carrier turns west, deploying a towed array. The Vincent holds north, covering the flank. Rules tighten. IMCON holds. Radios stay clipped and short. Dewey arms, Nixie decoys, and checks SLQ. 32 countermeasures. A Pate Ampere's orbits high above, silent and ready. The message is clear. Don't spook the deep. No shots fired. No provocation. Yet every second feels like a coin toss between peace and chaos. The ocean hides its secrets well, but tonight, both sides know the other is listening back. Dawn breaks gray and heavy over the Luzon Strait. The sea looks calm, but every ship's sonar tells a different story. Deep below, two Chinese contacts split formation, one sliding east toward the Kaga, the other sinking lower, shadowing the Dewey. The move isn't random, it's pressure, a quiet test of nerves. "Maintain course," the Dewey's captain says, voice steady. The order is calm, but everyone feels the weight. Torpedo crews stand by, decoy launchers hum alive. Onboard systems switch to full combat readiness, yet no one dares to fire first. The rule is simple. Whoever blinks loses the moral high ground and maybe the war. At 5:12, a sonar buoy reports cavitation spikes near the French carrier. It's a Chinese drone, small, fast, zigzagging like a shark pup. The Charles de Gaulle launches its own decoy drones, creating false echoes that flood the spectrum. Overhead, a US Pate Amperes cuts through cloud cover, dropping fresh buoys to rebuild the grid. On the Vincent's deck, F divided by A, 18 idle, their engines ticking in the morning heat. Pilots wait with helmets in hand, listening to the radio chatter, the sound of patience under pressure. At 5:40, a sudden sonar flash erupts contact merge. The Dewey and the Kaga both record overlapping tracks. Someone's crossed into strike range. The command rooms go still. The next move could rewrite the Pacific balance overnight. China's sub rises 20 meters, its outline clear on screen, deliberate, visible, a show of strength, not stealth. Dewey holds fire, Kaga locks on but doesn't release. The French frigate Forbin slides between them, a living shield in steel and calm. The standoff freezes, every captain waiting for the other to breathe first. If you were in that control room watching the ocean turn into a chessboard of blinking pings, would you hold your nerve or push back? Type 1 if you'd stand firm like the Allies. Type 9 if you'd show force like the Chinese subs. The silence stretches. No missiles, no shots. Just the sound of machines listening for intent, and men praying the sea stays quiet a little longer. A thermocline rolls in from the Philippine Sea, bending sound like glass. Returns smear, tracks vanish, then reappear a mile off. One wrong filter and a decoy looks like a war shot. Everyone breathes shallow and waits. Just past midnight, July 9, a tremor ripples through the grid. One of the US sonar buoys near the Luzon Shelf goes dark, not jammed, not destroyed, just gone. The Dewey's console blinks, then resets. A minute later, a new signal appears from the same spot, deeper, stronger, coded differently. At first, the crew thinks it's a malfunction. Then the pattern repeats. French and Japanese buoys report phantom returns at identical depths. Something below is mimicking their sonar, copying and rebroadcasting it in reverse. "Ghost ping," the French operator mutters. "It's a trick no one has seen before, real-time signal inversion." The ocean fills with false targets, and no one can tell which echoes are real. Dewey launches a diagnostic drone. It dives through the murk, streaming video until the feed cuts to static. The last frame shows a glimmer, not metal, but a shape wrapped in fiber mesh, reflecting no light. A stealth probe. Chinese or autonomous? No one knows. Kaga tightens its net, recalibrating sensors. Carl Vinson orders full radio silence and activates a classified tracking algorithm. For the first time, even computers can't separate noise from contact. The crews realize they've lost control of the picture. Somewhere in the dark, A new frequency hums too precise to be random. It's as if the sea itself has started listening back. Then, out of the noise, a faint distress tone echoes 3 pings in perfect rhythm, a US signature. But none of their subs are missing. The Allies stare at the console, silent. A ghost signal calls for help from 200 miles inside Chinese waters. The Shadow War just found its voice. The 9th of July 2025, 3:02 local time. The Luzon Strait is black water and red tension. Every ship runs silent. The ghost signal keeps echoing. 3 pings at perfect intervals, drawing both sides closer. Dewey sonar paints the shape of a sub that shouldn't exist. Cold, faint, yet moving toward the surface. Could be a decoy, the analyst whispers. But the heat signature reads human. Kaga confirms the same contact. De Gaulle verifies it too. Whoever sent that distress call is real, or something wants them to believe it is. The US task force edges forward. Depth charges are armed but not dropped. Across the strait, a Chinese Type 93B rises fast, its acoustic profile matching the Phantom exactly. For 10 seconds, the 2 identical signatures overlap, one real, one false, and the whole map collapses into chaos. Contact merge multiple bearings. Lost track. Reacquire now. In that moment, the sea explodes in sound. A sonar buoy detonates not by weapon, but by pressure spike. Shockwaves ripple across sensors, scrambling data. The French frigate Forbin tilts under the blast wake. Dewey counters with full rudder. Everyone braces for torpedoes that never come. Then, from the dark below, an object breaks the surface, torn hull plating, rising slow. Floodlights catch the numbers. 841, the Chinese rescue ship Changdao. Its bow is split open, decks empty. No heat, no crew. The silence is unbearable. Commanders on both sides realize someone else or something else triggered this chain. The ocean is no longer theirs to control. On the Carl Vinson, radar officers spot a faint transmission bouncing between layers, a digital signature looping endlessly, the ghost ping replaying itself. The distress call never stopped, it's self-generating. Every screen glows with the same haunting pattern, 3 perfect pings repeating. The Allies and the Chinese both freeze, unsure whether to retreat or fire. Spray hisses along steel, crews grip rails, knuckles white, as somewhere below metal scrapes metal in a teeth-on-edge grind. If you were the one making that call staring at identical blips of friend and foe, would you pull the trigger or wait another second? Type 1 if you'd hold fire and trust discipline. Type 9 if you'd strike first to survive. The next second decides everything. By sunrise, the Luzon Strait is silent again. Too silent. Waves roll across empty water, carrying no trace of battle, no sign of victory. The ghost ping fades at last, leaving only static and disbelief. USS Dewey sonar crew stares at their screens, hollow-eyed. They replay the recording again and again, trying to understand what they heard. 3 perfect tones, 1 impossible voice. The Changdao drifts half-sunk nearby, its hull bleeding oil like ink into the dawn. Rescue teams from the Kaga approach under white flags, scanning for survivors. None are found. The wreck carries no crew, no logs, not even a power core. It's as if the ship was built to die here, to send one final message that the ocean no longer answers to nations. On the bridge of the Carl Vinson, commanders trade quiet words. No one claims victory. No one knows what to report. Officially, there was no confrontation, no shots fired, no casualties. But every captain in the task force understands what's changed. The Chinese sub vanishes from sonar, slipping beneath the thermocline without a trace. Satellite imagery later shows faint heat blooms heading north. Then, nothing. Both sides will write their own version of what happened, but deep down, they share the same unease. Something else is moving in the depths. Strategically, the world wakes to a new reality. Sonar is no longer truth. A ghost signal can rewrite facts faster than diplomats ever could. In Washington and Beijing, analysts whisper the same question: who built it and who controls it now? If you were to choose, whose story would you believe? Type 1 if you trust the Allies' account that the ocean warned them first. Type 9 if you think China unleashed something the world wasn't ready for. As the sun rises over the Philippine Sea, the shadow war slips beneath the surface again. The water looks calm, but every captain knows calm is only what the sea shows before it decides to strike. And this time, it might not be either side holding the trigger.